going to be traveling internationally this summer or maybe later this year? Don't worry, we've got some tips, tricks, and hacks to help you save money because that's what we're all about at Broke Teachers Travel. Hi, I'm Marnie.
And I'm Jeff.
Welcome to the Broke Teachers Travel Podcast. We're going to help you save some money today.
And the only thing better than helping you save money is for us to save money. So we are, as Marnie says,
the guinea pigs.
The guinea pigs. So, we everything is tried and true based on our experiences. So the very first thing I like to do is to use the incognito browsing mode when shopping for flights. Basically, that blocks where you are actually booking the ticket from. So like your home, your town, things like that. It really, I didn't think at first that would matter. It does really matter. There's a $100 to $200 difference I found in booking some flights by using the incognito mode.
And that can add up quickly, especially if you're traveling with multiple people. Okay, another tip. Compare prices for round trip versus 2 one-way tickets. That can also add up to some substantial savings. Sometimes if you do the ticket there and then a ticket back separately, it can save you a little bit of money along the way. So just make sure you compare the two. It's not always the case, but sometimes it does help.
And it does give you a little bit more flexibility to be able to, hey, a day later, 2 days later, things like that. But remember, there is a sweet spot to book it. So if you try to book the day of, generally it's a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
Look at packaging deal and compare the booking things independently. If you're visiting a new country, consider a tour. And, I do a lot of those. I talk about Gate 1. We've also done World Strides. We've done some other ones that we've done. We've done several different touring companies. But, again, just to know your way around, the first time, go check everything off. The second one, really enjoy it. But, again, a lot of times you could save $300, $400, $500 on hotel and accommodation when you book with flights. I know this is true with Expedia and Travelocity.
Yeah, it can really, that's another one that does pay to shop around to compare the prices of whether it's better to do it as a package deal or to book everything separately. I know we've seen it both ways. Make sure you check for any extra fees that may be charged when booking a hotel. We know in Italy there is a nightly fee per person per room, and it's only a few dollars, but those few dollars add up over like a week or a 10-day stay or 2-week stay. So beware, call the hotel, talk to them, find out if there are any extra fees involved when you book or before you check out, because you just never know, and it's always good to be prepared.
And even if you're looking at one of those package deals, you can see what hotel you're staying at and then click on their website and go and look, and it would have a list of those fees. In general, it's $3 to $7 is the highest one I've seen in Europe, which is still a lot cheaper than parking fees and resort fees and things like that we have here in the U.S. And also, those are usually payable in cash differently.
Yeah, a lot of them are, especially if it's like an Airbnb or some situation like that. And it's not a scam when they ask you for the few dollars per night in cash. That is just how they do things in Europe. It is just a little bit different than it is here, but it is a legitimate fee.
Okay, when paying with your credit cards, use the local currency option. That's an important thing because it will save you money. So that's a big thing. So always local currency option when paying with credit card.
Yeah, because it actually kind of brings up the price when you pay with the American dollars because of the transaction fee and all that to have to convert it, basically.
All right.
And this is something we always emphasize, but check with your employer for corporate codes. Many hotel chains, even those abroad, see if they offer this. Call the hotel chain itself. They usually have an 800 number. And if it's one that's international, see if the corporate codes still work, because this can add up to some significant savings in your trip.
I know that Holiday Inn and Hilton and places like that, they have hotels all over the world. I know for my upcoming trip to Turkey, the guy that I'm traveling with, he's using his points in Turkey to help get a discount on our room. So I know that.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool.
Look for discounted attractions in your destination. We know that Rome has many museums, have basically a pass that you could buy to get in all the museums. Some of the museums have free admission, especially if you're traveling with your family. I know for a fact that the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, they had a kid option. They got in free, and I know some of the other museums. I think the Louvre is either free or it's a it's a discount, something like that. And ask about teacher discounts, because I've actually done that before and gotten a discounted rate. Now that's not always the case if there's a special exhibit or something, like we found out when we saw the Magna Carta with my daughter. It's like, I'm a teacher, give me a break on this. They're like, no. So it cost us €50 to see it, but as my daughter pointed out, it was a once in a lifetime experience, so we did see it. So
absolutely, cool. Yeah. Another thing to think about is pack light. Believe it or not, this does save you money too, because you're saving the checked bag fees, and those get pricey. And it also stops you from having to stand and wait for your bag. You can just grab it and go. And it makes it so much easier. But it is definitely a money saver.
And if you're traveling to multiple locations, sometimes you need to ask and make sure if they will put your check bag all the way through, or if they will just make you pick it up there and recheck it. That's an important thing. So.
Oh, yeah, that could add up a lot.
All right, take advantage of local grocery stores, delis, and things of that nature. They ask the locals. They usually know where to eat. They know where the best food is, things that are cheap. And a lot of times, those are really, really cool memories. One of the things that I like to do to save money, and I am a cheapskate, but at breakfast, man, in Europe, they have these little jars of jelly. Take an extra bagel, part of a baguette, something like that, put it in one of those Ziploc bags we talk about, and bam, you could pick up some deli meat or something and have a picnic on the gardens of Versailles or something like that. Those are things that you'll never forget, those kind of meals.
And baguettes are fairly cheap all over the place, and that's something you can do pretty much anywhere, and just grab a little jar of jelly or jam or something, or like Jeff said, some deli meat, make a sandwich and enjoy the picnic. It's a lot of fun.
Real quick, I want to go back to the last thing we were talking about the check bags and the carry-on bags. Those guys are sticklers for the size and the weight. A lot of those
some more so than others.
Yeah, they'll make you weigh it. They will make sure it's in the correct dimensions, and if not, they will make you go back out and recheck it. So that can be a real pain. So they have those little handy dandy scales. Weigh it, make sure that you're not over.
Yeah, that's definitely a big one. Remember all of those points you've earned with your credit card? Use them. Those can save you so much money. We have really gotten into this recently, and it saves a lot. This has helped a lot with our upcoming trips. And it even helped us the other day or last week when we were in Orlando. It helps just to, use those points. Take advantage of them. You've earned them.
And make sure when you're using your card, read all of the perks that you have. There's some of them that will give a discount on global entry. There's some of them that will give additional insurance. There's a lot of things, but make sure you go through and see what the perks are. After all, you're generally paying some sort of annual fee, so let's make sure you get your money's worth out of it.
And be sure to check out all the travel cards. Those are the ones that really add up in a hurry. And just, pay your regular expenses on them, turn around and pay it off immediately. And you rack up those points in a hurry that way.
Travel insurance, it's a cost up front, but it can save you, a big issue on a trip. But the one thing is, check with your credit card companies to see if they offer travel insurance. And again, some of the credit cards, I know one that I have, if I book with it, it actually has a level of trip insurance, vacation insurance built in. So in that particular case, I'm not adding on something else. Also realize that when you're buying travel insurance, it's generally through a third party, okay, not directly through the company. Now, if they offer that, they may, but it's been my experience that it's through a third party. That being said, the one time that I did have to actually make a claim was during the pandemic. The company that I booked through, it was a long time. It was over a year and a half before they even reached back out to me. But I filed an insurance claim, about 3 weeks later?
Yeah.
And 4 weeks, from the time that my trip was canceled, I had a check, and so I was really impressed with that. So, and again, just like everything else, review those insurance companies.
Yeah, it pays off a lot. When you're traveling abroad, remember that once you're in a country, it's usually inexpensive to travel around within that country. The public transportation is a lot different than it is here in the U.S. Everyone uses public transportation abroad, and it's a very safe and reliable way to get around. Flights are cheap within these countries to get to other places. You can use the railways. There are all sorts of things. Just take advantage of it, because you can see more places than you think once you get over there.
And like Marnie said, one of the things that almost all the European countries we've ever been to, there's a lot of public transportation. So there's the not the monorail. What am I thinking of? The subway. Yeah. So they have the subway. They have a very great bus system. Now, sometimes, you might want to look ahead of time to make sure you know how to navigate this, because we may or may not have been stuck on a double-decker bus for a couple trips around London our first time, and I was like trying to play it off, and I didn't know how to get it stopped, and we were taking students that time, so that was we had a great time. So
yeah, and make sure that you know when the subway stops close, because some of them do. One of ours closed.
Yeah, 2 a.m. a lot of them stop running.
And you have to take alternate routes.
You have to take alternate routes, so yeah. Absolutely.
So be prepared for that, definitely. Make sure you get a ride to the airport. Parking your car can get expensive. I don't know if you've looked at that lately, but it is pricey to park your car at the airport. See if the hotel that you're going to be staying at your destination offers a free shuttle to pick you up. Some of them actually do, and that's very handy, and it saves you a lot of money.
And sometimes if you're getting one of the package deals through, say, Expedia or Travelocity or somewhere like that, they will give you an option to have airport pickup and things like that. When I went to Israel, I booked that, and it was like $50 each way. But that wasn't a bad deal to get from there to the hotel. But they met me there at the time they were supposed to. They got there 30 minutes before they were supposed to when I flew out, and those were really early morning flights, so that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's very helpful. And last thing we want to talk about, again, we're going to reiterate this, take advantage of public transportation. It's usually very inexpensive. We have always found it to be safe, and it gets you anywhere you want to go within the city, especially like Jeff said, in Europe. I mean, we used it everywhere there. You have the tube in London. You have just the subway system in Paris. There's all kinds of things and different buses that can get you around the cities, and they pretty much go to most of the major landmarks or near enough that you can walk from them.
And some of them are very, very simple. For example, Rome has one line. Paris has a couple. But understand that if you're traveling above ground, there's a lot of traffic up there. There's a lot of traffic jams. They've made a lot of pedestrian-only areas, and so it's a lot easier to go underground and then pop up than it is even to take buses sometimes too. So.
Yeah.
There was one other thing I wanted to mention about saving money, which is a little kind of an odd thing. It's a little bit different than it is here in the U.S. Over there, at least in Europe, people, they get paid a livable wage, servers and people like that.
Yes.
And so I won't say they get offended when you leave them tips, but it's nothing like here where people depend on tips and gratuities for their living wage. So, a couple of dollars instead of 10 or something like that. Also, one other thing, and we'll talk about this in a later episode, but when you go over there and people, since they do get a livable wage, they don't come up and ask you 6 or 7 times in the meal, can I help you, fill your drink, just kind of wave your hand and say, hey, can you, grab me something else or something, bring me something else to drink or something like that. Over there, it's family time, and they don't want to infringe on that family time, but a lot of Americans take it as them being rude or having poor service. So.
And they're not. Right. That's not how it works. Well, that's going to do it for tonight. Thanks for hanging out with us and following along. Be sure to like and subscribe down below. Hit those buttons. Follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of it, Facebook. Follow us. We're excited. We want to have this conversation with you. Leave comments for us. We want to talk to you. We're excited to talk about travel.
And next week, we're going to talk about our recent trip to Orlando, a couple of things like that. And after that, we're going to do some review of some travel products that I will be using.
And our next big podcast is going to be about how to prepare your home for when you're going to be away.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, we're going to have fun with that one. There's a lot of things you need to think about, and it's important. But that's it for tonight, guys. Remember, break the monotony.
Not the bank.
Bye.
Have a good week.